Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and today I'll be playing along with Kendra's card challenge. She runs these quarterly, so this one goes, it's number 7 and it goes from July 1st to September 30th of 2022. And I'll be crafting with the Spellbinders Santa Lane Mega Christmas Kit. So in this video I'll show the entire process of turning 6 sheets of pattern paper into 15 cards. That is the premise of Kendra's card challenge. And even though I've sped up the process greatly, this is still going to be a rather long video. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and timestamped this video so that you can just catch the portions that you're most interested in. The first section is going to be just choosing and cutting down my 6x6 pattern papers. The second section is adding the additional mats and layers to basically fill out the rest of the background of each card, because beyond the 6 sheets of pattern paper you're going to be expected to add some additional solid color cardstock, and where there have been notes to maybe stencil a background or emboss a panel, I actually just chose to use some more pattern paper. So the second section is going to be just choosing and cutting down all of those additional bits so that I have everything I need as the foundation for my card. The third section is the assembly. The assembly is actually going to also include choosing from all of the various supplies that we get in this kit, between the die cut ephemera and sentiments to the stickers and all of the various embellishments. And so in that assembly phase, which is kind of the longest portion of this video, I'll put everything together. And at the very end, I'll do a recap of all the 15 cards that I made. So during this these first 2 sections of cutting down my pattern papers and choosing the additional mats and layers to go with it, I wanted to make sure that as I was choosing the 6 core pieces of pattern paper, that I was looking at the card sketches to see how they would be used and in what combination. That way I can make sure that the 6 I chose work well together the way that she has the sketches laid out. And even though everything is coming from the same 6x6 paper pad, they're going to coordinate beautifully together in terms of color. But I did also want to make sure that the various patterns that will be used together vary in some way so that your eye can actually differentiate one from the other. If they're a little bit too similar, then they all sort of blend together. But I like to, when I'm using multiple pattern papers on a single card, I like to vary them up in terms of, light versus dark colors, large versus small print, geometrics versus floral versus typography in terms of the type of pattern and the density of the pattern and all of that good stuff. So that way, whatever your eye tends to gravitate to, whether it's a large print or striking colors, you'll have somewhere that you're going to focus on first, and then everything else you kind of pick up in different kind of stages as you examine the card or look at it more closely. So that's what I'm thinking as I'm going through this process. And so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and set the rest of this first phase of just all the prep work to some background music, and then I'll rejoin you for a little bit of a voiceover when I start to assemble these cards. Okay, so now that I have cut everything, I've organized everything in my little accordion file folder here. So as I pull out each sketch, I'm gonna pull out all of the items that I prepped. I know that I'm usually a fairly tidy crafter, but when I am crafting with kits, especially when I'm crafting with pattern papers and ephemera, my desk looks like, a hurricane blew by. And so if you were put off by that, I'm really sorry. But I do like to see all of my choices, have them all in front of me. And this is one of the few times and few types of videos that I create on my channel where I'm really doing this off the cuff. And I haven't prepared everything in advance the way I would normally. And so what I'm doing is sort of just picking and choosing as I pull out these elements that have been provided by the cutting guide and the card sketch. And so it's nice to just see everything in front of me so that I am reminded to kind of use all of the different, because we get so much in this kit. It's easy to forget what all your options are. So that's why I like to kind of see it all as best I can. And there's more kind of out of screen that you're not seeing. But what I like to look for is things that I can collage together. If the pattern papers are suggestive of anything, I like to try to carry that theme through to the focal images. For example, some of the pattern papers have, musical notes or are have some text on them or florals or whatever it happens to be. I try to use elements that we've been provided in die cut form, in sticker form, and I try to pick up on some of what's in the pattern papers and bring that forward in the focal image as well. So that's roughly my thought process as I am going through the assembly. The other thing that I do is I'm not 100% worried about following the sketch to the T. I'm more or less, the framework is going to be there because I've cut my papers to those specifications. But when it comes to the actual placement of things and the focal image, the sentiments, I'm going to sort of do whatever feels right for the elements that I've chosen. And so I'm not, if it's showing a circle and, I want to put a square there because that feels more right, then that's what I'm going to do. And you should always, I think, look at sketches that way. They're just a way to kind of springboard your creativity. And so, use what you have and make it your own. And so that's always been my approach for card sketches because I just find them hugely useful for just giving you that jump start especially when you're feeling like the creativity juices aren't flowing. I feel like card sketches really help to kickstart that, and then there'll be a spark of something that carries me forward the rest of the way. So that's sort of my approach to these 15 cards. And you'll see, hopefully the essence of the sketch is still there, but you'll see in some cards more than others, I've diverged some. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'm going to set the rest of this video to some music. I do want to mention again that after these 15 cards, I did make another set of cards because I did choose to use some additional pattern papers where the sketch called for things like using an embossed background or a stenciled background or solid color cardstock. I just chose to use some more pattern paper in some cases. And so what that meant was I had some leftover cuts And so I just continued to prep, as you saw. And the actual assembly I didn't want to include in this video, so I'll go ahead and push that off to a separate video, which I'll link to at the end of this one. So sit back, enjoy the rest of the assembly, and if at any point you run out of time and you just want to see the final result, I did timestamp this so that you can just hop straight to the final reveal and see the final 15 cards. Thanks so much for joining me today. Till next time, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!